John, thanks very much for joining us. Maybe if you could just give us your kind of view, given the discussion at the moment around the office sector and the obvious changes that there have been since we last discussed this. What's your sense at the moment in terms of the trends and the outlook for the sector?
Sure. Well, Richard, thanks for having me. I guess, yes, we're obviously living through unprecedented times, and the working from home phenomenon that we're all living through has changed things fundamentally, changed people's outlook towards the office sector and the way we work. So I think, we would all accept that it's worked better than most would have expected. I think that's mainly due to the wide-scale adoption that we've seen. So everybody's doing it, which makes it more efficient for everyone. And there's no fear of missing out, really, because we're all doing the same thing, working in the same way. I've been speaking to lots of people about this, of course, what the long-term outlook for offices would be based on this. And I think it would be a mistake, to jump to too much of a conclusion at this stage while we're living through the middle of this. I think undoubtedly it will change. Management's perspective of the ability for people to be efficient working from home has fundamentally changed. And I think there will be much more flexibility in terms of allowing people to do this in future. And that will obviously have a longer term impact on overall demand. My expectation, however, is that if we assume that people will work from home more frequently, so 1 or 2 days a week, those 3 days a week that you spend in the office have to really count. And for that reason, I think offices, particularly the kind of CBD locations that we favour, will become even more in demand. And actually, I think there will be a best and a rest approach. So, the best kind of offices will have very strong demand as businesses look to maximise the collaboration benefit of having people in the office, and those offices which are don't appeal will have to find an alternative use.
And it's interesting to see that that CBRE Global Investors, John, have obviously been continue to be active in the market. And I noticed you acquired the Pontis House office in Munich recently.
Yes.
I guess what was the attraction of that asset, and how does that play into the sort of market view that you just mentioned there?
Well, I think Pontis House is a really good example of exactly the kind of strategies that we're focusing on. So Munich, very attractive city in a European context, structurally undersupplied, is attracting the kind of occupiers that we're seeing in the growth industries. A lot of the creatives are focusing in the city, and this particular asset was attractive to us because it's eminently multi-lettable. And in terms of being, if you like, COVID ready, or ability for us to operate it in a COVID environment, good accessibility, plenty of room in the reception, not a tall building, which again is another area which we're giving some consideration to at the moment, because one of the issues clearly is vertical transportation in the current climate. So really ticked all the boxes, which is why we were so keen to close that deal.
Thanks very much for sharing your view, John. Great to catch up.
Pleasure. Nice to speak to you. Thanks, Richard.